If you're watching this, that means you have ears for intelligent conversations and you want to see a change in the world around you. It means you're dissatisfied with the things that the world calls norms, and you are intentional right now about making a difference. And so I'd like you to join us by liking this podcast, streaming it, sharing to your friends and family, subscribe and follow whichever platform you find yourself listening. And I'm sure you're going to have a good time with us. Thank you. So why don't you introduce yourself first, and then we'll progress from there.
Okay, Elizabeth. I'm an emotional intelligence coach.
Alright.
I'm passionate about helping people to understand their emotions and show them how to handle things better, handle the emotions better.
Handle the emotions better. Alright, let's talk about emotions. For instance, especially for young people, how much of a person's emotions influence their outcomes or their current state of life?
Okay, as human beings, we tend to feel like we can be really logical. Like most people will tell you, oh, I'm a logical person, or I'm trying to be logical, I don't want my emotions to get in the way. But we forget that deep down, deeply, we are controlled by emotions, even the decisions we tend to make. For example, I give a very good example is when you're trying to choose your course of study. Some persons might feel like, okay, I want to go into medicine, I want to go into this, or which one is going to make money for me. But most times when you look deep down, you see that it's passion. And we forget, most persons don't know that passion is an emotion, for example. Or it might be out of the fact that you want to, out of respect for your parents. But deep down, even when we are making decisions based on relationships, that person that you like moving with, it's because the person makes you feel a certain way. But some person might just be like, oh, she's just nice to me, she's just nice to me. You don't know that she's making you happy, or she makes you feel seen, or she makes you feel loved. That's why you like moving with that person. So emotions control us on a large scale, and it really helps when we decide to acknowledge it, because it helps us make better decisions.
Alright. So what do we say then about people who, I've met people who tend to say that I'm not an emotional person, I don't do this and do that, and they use that as an excuse for why they don't have a good relationship with their parents, whether they don't have a good relationship with their friends, or why they can't even sustain somewhat a romantic relationship in a sense. So what's the reason for that?
Well, there are a lot of reasons, but then most times a very big factor that is the cause of this is childhood, the way people are raised. If you check typically the African home, or should I say Nigerian home, we grew up in an environment where our parents ignore our emotions. You want to tell your mom, oh, I'm not happy about something, and the next thing is a big shift, or you just get shouted at. Or probably a very good example is your parent did something you did not like, and you're trying to talk back to them, but then they tell you, oh, are you trying to disrespect me? You are speaking back at me. So because of that, over time, most people have learned to numb their emotions. It's just like a child is close to you, and that child is like, oh, brother. A child is trying to call you. If with time you ignore that child, there's every chance that the child might leave you or turn away, or not try to reach you again. Just the child will move away. So that's the way our emotions are. So if as you're growing up, you tend to numb this thing, so it will get to a point where you now need these emotions, but then you can't reach them, like you no longer feel them. That's why most people have relationship issues. They don't know how they feel about certain things. You are someone you're in a relationship with, the person is hot about something, the person is trying to talk to you and all of that, but you are trying to avoid conversation because growing up, emotions are just not something that was shown as important to you. Yes, it was, you were not allowed to express it. So because you're not allowed to express it, it's just like a basic skill. If you were not taught how to write while growing up, when you grow up, then it will be difficult for you to write. Same with emotion. So it's majorly linked back to our childhood. That's the major reason why most people have these issues that they have now.
So I grew up in, or rather, growing up for me was quite different from what every other person experienced. And many people experience this as well. You know, you get first position in the class, and your dad tells you, if you get first position, I'll buy you a bicycle. And so I kind of grew up on failed promises at some time, but there were aspects of me that also understood that at that point in my family's life, there were many things we couldn't afford to get or have. I can say I saw my parents struggle out of where they were to where they are now, and but along the line, I had a younger sibling and different things like that, and so something began happening where that for almost everything that happens in the house, I'm blamed, and so plate breaks, it's Christopher. A gadget spoils, the TV stops working, it's Christopher, and stuff like that. And so a time came where I didn't even bother anymore that who did this or who didn't do it. After all, they are still going to blame me. So I didn't care anymore. I just began just doing things like that. I now noticed after a while that as I grew up, there was some leniency. Sometimes I want to credit this to my relationship with God as it began to progress. Then I noticed my friends, my parents, I'm calling them my friends because really they are my friends right now. They began to become more lenient and more peaceful, and to the point I can talk to them about almost anything, right? But there are also children who grew up in such a circle, as like referring to my beginning, right? That it turned out worse and not better. So what can you say is the difference between people who for some reason are still able to become better persons in the society and not affected by the emotional trauma they went through as children?
Okay. Apart from our childhood, another thing that affects how a person turns out is their environment. Yeah, so take you for example, probably after all you went through, you now say you are close with your parents, but there are some persons they might meet maybe certain friends that will then reinforce this feeling of you are a problem, you are at fault. So because these people that they met is reinforcing that information to them, they might find it difficult to reconcile with their parents. Yeah, but then I don't know what you went through between the space of what you experienced and now being close to your friend, but there are so many things that could have gone through. But what we can really attribute it is the environment and the place you grew in. It might even be it might be your friends. There are different kind of friends in school. You have some friends that bully you. You have some that they just love you for no reason. You have some that they love you because you're always lending them stuff. So these things, even though they might feel very, very subtle, it's really the outcome is just like when you have 1 plus 1. 1 on its own is 1. 1 on its own is 1. But then if one negative plus another negative causes 2 negatives. But then if you have 1 negative, then you meet a positive, then it's kind of like cancels that out. Yes, so your own will be attributed to the persons you've met over time. It might be a script, it might be a pastor, it might even be a preaching that you listen to that say, oh, God has forgiven all your sins, you are not a problem, you are not this. But another someone else that faced that same thing, you might not have the opportunity to listen to a message like that. So because of that, the person is going to turn out differently. So that's basically.
Alright, because I kind of noticed something. When I came into the campus, I had a focus like, okay, from 100 level to 400 level, when I finish, it was just gonna be God, purity, holiness, and all that. We're gonna finish that. But over time, I began to notice that I was feeling lonely, like I was on my own and things like that. I had neighbors and stuff like that, but it was as though choosing morality, because I was in a hostel where I can say at least maybe different persons were sleeping with themselves, right? And it was not even a secret in that sense, it was quite clear. So I'm in that environment And I understand that these people, they know I'm a Jesus boy, let me put it like that.
Yeah.
And I cannot stop being a Jesus boy, because now that's going to affect not my image now in that sense. But I realized that the environment I was facing so much pressure, but I still ended up leaving that space without doing the same things they were doing. But then there are also persons who, that the influence is not so much, and maybe like you rightly said, the things I'm exposed to, people I listen to, and things like that. But don't you think that there is an aspect of a person's will in terms of the actions they take? Because if the environment has so much effect on you, it means every single person in that same environment should be doing the same thing. So why is it that there are some tilting towards side, and then there are some tilting to the other?
Okay. Well, I would say will also has a part to play, and it's just our will depends, like the level of see as trying. You might not see it as something I might see as temptation. You might not see it that way. So truly our will is very, very important. As persons, we definitely have a role to play. It's just the environment makes you more susceptible. The environment makes you more susceptible. But then, the reason why as a person, I believe that your child is important, not like it's the only determining factor. But the reason why I believe it's very important is because it sets a baseline for so many things in your life. If, for example, growing up, you saw your parents as people that were really lackadaisical about things, maybe they were drinking and all of that, or they were just all about the arty life and all of that, it might set a foundation that you can also be that free with life. But then you might get to that point, which is another reason why exposure is important. Not exposure is important in the sense that you might have seen something negative in the beginning, then you get exposed to, it might not be something big, but then that exposure makes you conscious that, okay, I've seen my parents do things like this over time, but I can decide to do something. I can decide to do things differently. So your will is important, but then your will is a bit dependent on what you are exposed to. It's just like there was something I posted once, and I gave an example that if you met someone in the village and you asked them how skyscrapers would look like, they would definitely say a hut upon a hut upon a hut, because they've only seen huts on top of each other. So even if the child wants to build something really big, a very tall, it's only that hut that the child is going to see, unless the person sees a little bit of building that is different. Then that child decides, okay, I want to build something that is different from the huts that I've been seeing in my village. That's when it's going to be a different outcome, like the skyscraper. So the child sets the baseline, but then what the child is exposed to over time will now determine if the person can build that self-will that will help them to either decide otherwise or decide to follow in that same path that they started out with.
Oh, so that means that the scope of the person's vision, the things that the person is exposed to, is what determines. For some reason, I found out that some persons feel safer in the midst of bad company than what we may address as good company, and they don't mind building their moral compass as regarding the company they find themselves. And so you have people who were genuinely born again, or genuinely, good kids growing up, but at the point in time they just found themselves in bad company, and that bad company just feels much more safer than the good company. What would you say is lacking that is making them switch over?
Lacking. All right. Most times, if you look at these negative settings, sometimes you realize we've seen all these in movies. You've seen where even though people are thugs, they genuinely love this person that is a brother in the thug group. But then you see people that claim to be nice, but then they are not as loving as these negative
people.
Yes. I can't remember what message I was listening to, but the person said that in the church, I think someone made a mistake, and all of them were praying against that person that made the mistake, and the person that made the mistake was in the church. So the person was heartbroken. He started crying, and it was because he felt like he was not loved in the church. Like, how can I do something? And these people, they claim that they love me and they are brothers in Christ and everything, and they are praying this kind of prayer. Then the person might go to maybe a place where they are smoking and he says the same thing, and they're like, I beg, all of us are sinners. The person would feel loved. Yeah, so it's not, it might sometimes, the fact that someone is more comfortable in these negative settings, because maybe the so-called positive settings they've been in, they've not felt that kind of love that is endearing to them. So the people might be good, but then probably a kind of energy they are giving the person, or I can't really say, but sometimes some persons feel love in this kind of spaces more because this space gives them that particular thing that they are looking for. Even though being in that negative space, they might have to do some things. But probably if you are a child, while you were growing up, we always, just like example you give, you always blamed for things and all of that. But then you got to a place where these people are thieves, for example, and then you made a mistake and everybody is free, everybody just laughs over it, then you will definitely feel more comfortable there, regardless of the fact that these persons are doing negative things. So some persons do these things because it's their last resort, or it's because they've been shown that, okay, this is the only way you can make money. Probably the father was a thief, the child decided to go into stealing and all of that. But then over time they might have come to grow this kind of relationship with each other, this kind of love with each other, that someone comes in and they are really willing to accept that person. So you sometimes hear people say, I no look waiting that they do na condition because if not. And so you see, some persons are they're not like they are perfect, but they have this not like they are perfect, but they have a level of understanding that, okay, I should love this person. I shouldn't expect this person to be perfect. But people that are doing good, sometimes they have unrealistic expectations. Yes, they expect you to be perfect. They even expect themselves to be perfect. So they might project all of that onto you. And when you start getting close to them, you begin to see that, oh, this person just wants to be perfect and I can't meet up. But then you go somewhere else where the person is tagged bad, and then you make a mistake or you do something wrong, and the person accepts you, and you're like, I'm surprised you're not going to blame me. If it's blame you, can myself, I'm a bad person, so it's fine. And so they might have their flaws, but that particular thing that, let's say you've been starved of, for example, or that particular thing that has been rang into your head repeatedly, get into that space, you see that these people see differently, so you might get comfortable with them.
You know, what you just talked about made me remember something. And I believe that one of the reasons why people are leaving the church, especially in this day and age, is the image laundering that is happening.
Okay.
We have pastors, right? And this is not to say that it is the same for everybody, but we have pastors who say one thing and their life is another. There has been situations where the father, this pastor is sleeping with his member, or this pastor is gay, or this pastor did this thing, and there are many scenarios like that. And when people come and see that, oh, they did this and the church rejected them, but they know that even this one too is doing something worse, this one too is doing something, and all of them join together to point finger.
Expecting it to be perfect.
But in real terms, why is image laundering so serious? Why do people prefer to act to be what they are not?
Okay. So the image laundering is when someone acts to be what they're not, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like creating a perfect picture. For instance, someone is taking a picture in an environment. Let me use this as an example. And the environment is not really fine or anything, but there's just one car that stands out, and the person goes and stands in front of the car and takes the picture. Okay. So that it looks as though this is beautiful, this is okay, something like that.
Okay. Well, as human beings, we usually naturally want to portray our good side to people, and sometimes we want to even make it overly perfect. And most times, I think the pressure is usually in the church because we are all expected to be perfect. Like, we're expected to always be good at everything, to be holy and to be everything. So most persons want to hide that part of them that is not reaching that level that they want to be. And I would say it's because of the expectations. Expectations that the church has, the expectations of people in church, the fact that, oh, I can't do this because, or no, this, even if you've done it, nobody must find this out because, hey, in church they're going to judge me, or they're going to say, are you not a pastor, are you not a choir mistress, or something like that. So everybody wants to give that perfect image. Okay? And it's basically, all right, so basically it's, first of all, it's that wanting to be perfect. And also, as humans, someone said, I think it's Robert Greene, he said as humans we're always wearing a mask. We're always wearing a mask. So some persons have been told that, okay, to be a Christian you must not have any dirty thing, but then they probably they themselves have not been changed. They feel like it's just about the outward appearance. Yes, so they focus on the outward. Anything they are doing, they try to hide it because they've been told that, oh, as a child, well, you need to be this, you need to be that. And also the fact that people up there that make mistakes, some persons admit it, but some persons don't. So if you're under someone that doesn't admit it, you also feel like, if I admit now, does that mean I'm different, or does that mean I'm not righteously following this person? So you want to bring that facade that, oh, I'm a perfect person. Another thing is the fear of being judged. You know, back then, that's before the world got modernized and everything, people were in communities. And if you're in a community, you will do any, because back then, any little thing they can send you, and they can ostracize you, that's send you out, tell you to go and live outside of the community. And if you live outside of the community, you will die. Okay, so most persons, they avoid that. They don't want to be judged because that feeling of being judged, you might be alone. And as a human being, you don't want to be alone. So anything that will make you to fit in, even if it's to lie about something, even if it's to portray a part of you that is not true, okay, that's what you do. Yeah.
You see, this is a problem because I feel like this only applies to people who are of the same level. In the book of Exodus, something happened. Moses, at the point in his life, realized that he was meant to be the deliverer of Egypt, right? And on discovering that, a time came where he saw an Egyptian was beating one of the Israelites, and he had to fight. And he somehow, he got so bad he killed the Egyptian. Then he went, and then the next day he came and he saw the Israelites was beating the Israelites. The one that they were beating before was now beating another Israelite. I think it's that cultural mindset of smallness where we tend to celebrate those that are doing more harm because they are more popular, or because of the inferiority complex we look at them with. And then those that are of our same level, we call them out. I think it also happens in the church as well, and even in communities, like you said. If let's say local government chairman of this town now, for instance, is stealing money, they can easily drag him. But if the Delta State government, maybe somebody here, right, and the governor is their relative and he's stealing money and he's giving them money, they'll clap for him. They don't mind. I think people have a moral compass problem where they don't mind how bad something is, just as long as it's benefiting them.
Yeah, as long as it profits them.
At some point, I said something somewhere. I said, Nigerians are emotionally switched off. We had issues, alright? We have issues. Something came out yesterday, and that was how that a bandit was, I don't know whether he was lamenting or he was complaining or what he was doing per se. And he said he just spent 50 million naira on TikTok. And
50 million?
Yes. And we were, oh, what do you mean you spent 50 million? He said he did give away to Nigerians. And people actually posted their account numbers
To a bandit.
And these are the same bandits that captured the Oyo State's kidnapped children.
Okay.
So what exactly can you say is wrong with Nigerians? What is our problem?
Oh, well, referencing the example that you just gave, it's more like survival mode. That anything, I don't need to do anything to survive. That's why most persons go into Yahoo and the rest, because even though they have to, I think it's helpless, even though they have to kill someone, they don't mind as long as they can have money and they can live the life that they want. So it's a way, apart from the survival mode, it's more like we are thinking more individual based, or me and myself and I. If I don't care if someone else is affected, as long as I'm okay. So I think that's the mindset that is going on, and it's because of the fact that we've been in a negative environment for too long. Things are getting worse and worse by the day. There is no hope of anything getting better, and most people even used to say that Nigeria cannot get better. So if Nigeria cannot get better, if I see a way to improve my life, even if it's at the detriment of someone else, I don't mind. That's the mindset that most persons have.
And so people switch into survival mode, and it begins to affect everybody else around them.
And I also think lack, because when you're exposed to lack for too long, anything, it's just like you've not seen food for too long. Even if someone gives you a food that is half spoiled, definitely you see that, or maybe a bread that has mold on it, even though you know that the old bread is bad, it's just part of it that has mold. You eat it because you don't know when the next thing is going to come. You've always been lacking for so long, you've not always had food and things like that. So any opportunity, you jump on it, regardless of the source or whatever, who else is affected.
So what impact do you think this will have on Nigeria in the long run? If the young people now don't mind dropping their account numbers for bandits, right, and collecting stolen money from politicians and things like that, do you think that, in fact, let me ask it this way, what do you think this will result in 50 years, based on what Nigeria is now? If we continue like this, what's going to be the result?
I think criminal rate is going to increase, and lawlessness, and then morality is going to drop. That's morality in the sense that what people see as good will now begin to, should I say, get weak. This year, for example, I've met certain persons that they will justify it till the end of the head that say those people came to steal from us, so we are going to. And I was really talking with this person, and she was very convinced. I said, how can you believe someone? Is it the same people that stole from us that you are getting? Is that not 200 or 300 years ago? She said, that's what they told me. I said, that's what they told you. And you took it like that. So you also see girls too. They'll say, me, I don't mind as long as it's giving money. I don't care where it's taking it from. Even if it's to use me to make the money. I'm not Huku. I don't have the money on my own before. Yeah, I've heard people say that. Wow. I don't have the money. Since I'm not using my glory, if it's my glory there is to make money, then use it to make money and let's enjoy the money together.
Wow.
So over time, morality, what we say as good, we begin to get, the level will begin to come very, 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 very low. And well, it's going to really blow up, but this is the major thing that I can see right now.
Nigeria as a people, I feel like we're not ready for the change that we're expecting. If we can change our mind at every single thing, at every single point, many people, an election is coming up again, many people will sell their votes for a cup of rice. Many people will sell their votes for 10,000 naira. Many people will sell their votes for t-shirts, cap, broom. It happens, and I'm worried genuinely. Because now you mentioned something about the Yahoo boys and what they tell people that are coming in. They say it's the money that they stole from your fathers. That's what you're getting. But the truth is, if I'm sorry to say this, so it will offend many people, but if your father was really that rich that they stole that money from him, your life will not be the way it is.
Actually.
But that's by the way. But that just goes to show that every system, whether it's going to come out morally right or immoral, whichever direction it goes in, it really feeds on education. And so there's a system of teaching that comes constantly. If you want to build a certain mindset, it has to be by teachings. So in terms of the educational sector of Nigeria, in what ways do you think it can cope, and what ways do you think the education sector is failing in Nigeria?
Okay. How the education system fail? Well, the issue that I've seen is the grading system. That's how people are graded. You know, there's this theory of multiple intelligence. Okay, so the way our education system is, it's basically just people that can cram, that are being
Getting
the result. If you can cram, but if you are someone else that is probably good with pictures or good with videos, or you are someone that is good with art, I don't even think art is even referenced
so much in Nigeria. Yeah.
It's only very few places that you see art is being referenced, but there are so many people have different talents, but then it's just like having 10 different requirements, then you are just using one to grade people. So that's why you see so many people failing, so many persons failing. And well, although the educational system is not good, I also say parents have a part in this, because they tend to force children to do what they don't want to do.
Yes.
I'm a pharmacology student, and I've spoken with some of my colleagues, and over time I see that this person has the potential to be something else. That if this person is doing something else, the person will have gone really far. Someone close to me, she usually tells me that anytime she goes home, she does business and she makes lots of money. But now she's in school and are tight, she has to read, and she's not really the book smart person. She might understand, but then get to exam, or she forgets what she reads, or she cannot put into words what she understood. But if you give this girl money now, she will start a business for you in your front, and she will make money from it. But someone like that, I don't know what she might have been told, but I somehow she's in science class. I'm even surprised she's in science class, but she doesn't even have that science person energy at all. But the parents might have said, me for example, my parents kept telling me you need to be okay. They didn't say it directly, but then because I was just like you're saying, I was always top of the class. So my teachers would say, you're a very smart girl, you should be a doctor. My parents too, you should be a doctor. So when I tried to do medicine, it didn't work. I tried nursing, it also didn't work. They said I should do pharmacology, that I can switch to pharmacy, because medicine, nursing and pharmacy, those are the three things, and lawyer with engineering or all those.
I even have problem with that metrics, but in Nigeria, so
because of these things, students are not, apart from the fact that they are not being graded right, they are not in the place that will allow them to shine that potential that they have in them. So they are fighting against a lot of odds. Then coupled with the fact that the system, the economy is a mess, the stress, and even the issue with another issue with schools is the fact that it takes your whole time. I feel like something can be done about it. How can you be in class from 7 in the morning to 7 in the night, and then you'll be given an assignment and you'll be expected to read? You'll be expected to read ahead of the class you have the next day. But then if you're in school from 7 to 7, you need to rest. Yes, there are some classes, there are some days that are like that. Days, not just a day.
Wow.
So you'll be expected to, by the time you are getting home, you've not even had time to cook. You just eat one anyhow meal, then you sleep. Before you know, it's next morning and you have another 7 o'clock class. So it's really, the pressure is so much. So imagine you are studying something that you don't want to study. What you are studying is entirely different from the talent and gift that you have, coupled with the fact that you are being stressed every single day. I feel like that is enough to make someone run mad. If you ask me.
It's true. So the educational sector in itself has, like you made emphasis on the grading system and the fact that many people are doing what they have no passion for. And indeed, there was, thank God for this, there was a test we took in GS3. They called it an aptitude test.
Okay.
So whatever your results come out from that test is now what determines whether you're going to be in science, art, or commercial class.
Okay.
And there were many people who were interested in science that they threw into commercial. And the reason was not because the test was grading whether they love more business or not. In fact, the test they gave us was like a normal WAEC exam.
Okay.
So if you score very high, you are turned into science. If you are average, you can do arts. And if you are lesser, you are into commercial. And so what they called an aptitude test was not even an actual test. It was just one of those things. And so
they're saying commercial is like a lesser because it's not important. That's
the idea that they brought about it. But like you said about your friend, she starts a business now. I don't have, and it's something I'm trying to work on. I don't have the resilience to market things. I wrote a book, right? I finished it. The book is a very, very solid book. I've not marketed it. People who read it come to me and like, this book blessed me, and this is it. And I just look at them and like, thank God for you. Because really, there are many people that book is meant to help. I know the reason I wrote it, what God showed me and what He told me. And fine, I'm going to do it. And I'm working on the second part. And that's why I started clamoring at the time, because I wanted to get a team in order to work on these things and all of that. But genuinely, that marketing is not in me. I can do jobs and do them well. I'm into design, I'm into writing, different creative projects and all of that. I can supervise things. But when you say market, to the point my own program, I can't publicize it. It's like it's not my own thing.
Some people can carry things on their head unashamedly. They would sit on it.
Yeah.
Different tactics.
So everybody has their strengths, and the failure of us at arriving at that point now is why you see the average Yahoo boy is an innovator. I say this because it takes a lot to scam somebody. I know they talk about plus and all of that, but it takes intelligence to be able to deceive somebody.
Someone that is an adult.
Exactly.
Not a baby.
So I like you rightly said, we are wrongly positioned. We are wrongly positioned. But then there are also some schools where people are rightly positioned. There are people who love their courses, the things that they are doing in school. But still, it's as though the educational system is not favoring them. They read hard and they don't pass. And then there is even the aspect of where there are some persons that the lecturers tell them that you will not pass this course except you sleep with me. You have to pay so amount to block this course and things like that. What can you say about that?
Well, corruption that has really hit deep. And when I was in SS3 and I heard a lot of these issues that a lecturer can just mark your face and say you will not pass this. So I used to think it was a lie, or at least it was not in the school I would attend. But then on getting to school, I'm seeing that this thing is real. And I sometimes I try to sit down and ask myself, how as a person you just, maybe it's sense of entitlement, I don't know, but you just see someone and say, until you give me what I want, I'm not going to allow you to pass, because you have that power to determine something like that. So I'll really say that it's probably the way these people, I can't say it's the way they've been trained, but probably what they've seen over time. Maybe the lecturers they've met, the lecturer told them that after this is how we used to do this thing, you can use these girls to get anything you want, all of them want to pass. So once you, so many of them will do anything. So
do you think that's why they don't teach well? Because many Nigerian universities, and this is like collective, complaints, and there are very, very few schools that teach well. Right? um I said something to someone one time. I said, the way our lecturers are teaching us, they want us to know that they know book. They know the thing that they are teaching, and we agree, you know it. But I believe the target of teaching is for you to impart that knowledge. If you teach me for 4 years and there is nothing about you that I can find in myself, then that means you didn't teach me. Throughout, we were strangers. I can know a lecturer's full name, and yet the whole concept that lecturer is trying to pass, I still don't grasp it. So this whole thing, the way I see it is that it's churning out the same kind of people over and over again. And so the current students we have now are going to be the lecturers tomorrow. The lecturers we have now are going to have children that will become university students, and their students will become their children's lecturers, who will do the same thing, and the cycle of pain continues over and over again. So how then do we cope these things? Where do we start from?
Mindset is very important. Mindset. And someone said, I was speaking to someone and he said, we need someone to travel out and come back. But then I know a lot of lecturers that have gone abroad, and they are still doing the same thing.
All my lecturers have gone abroad.
So it's just like we said in the beginning, exposure. And apart from the exposure, after the exposure, that will or that decision to do differently. It's very easy when you are in a community and you see everybody doing the same. It's very, very easy for you to want to blend in, to feel like everybody is doing it, so why shouldn't I do it? But you need people that will decide that, okay, I want to, apart from the issues that, just like the issue that I mentioned, I want to actually impact people, not just make money. And I even think that's another reason why we have these issues. Most of these lecturers, they want to make money. Their aim or the desire to make money is higher than your
imparting knowledge, and there's no system to put them in check.
Nothing to put them in check. For some, impact is not even on the list. You have lecturers that will just hold one class. Some will not even hold. Some, they are first class when they are giving you tests, when they've not taught you anything. So the desire to make money is higher than that desire to make impact. So that's why most of their actions are money based. And this still links back to the fact that the part where we said survival. I want to make money, and if it's by punishing the student, I don't mind. I'm going to make my own money. So this still falls back to our mindset as citizens. The mindset that I need to make money, I need to survive, even if it's at the detriment of someone else. So we need persons that see the importance of impacting the next generation. The importance of impacting the next generation. People that know that as a teacher, I'm not just an anyhow person. I'm someone that's going to determine how this person will turn out. I'm going to determine how the next generation is going to be. So once we have people that understand this, yes, money will be part, they will be paid and all of that, but they are going to make better decisions, because money is not their sole drive. Everybody wants to make money, but money is not their sole drive. They know that I'm here, I'm doing this job because I want to impact the life of these students. I was watching myself and a close friend of mine, we were watching a video on a particular topic in class. It's a topic on one of our courses, and this American man, the way he explained it, two of us just looked at ourselves like, is this the same course that they've been teaching us in school? Exactly the same thing, but we remembered every single word he said, because when he's teaching, this man wants me to understand. This man is not coming to show off himself, or he's not coming to just mark attendance so that nobody will query him later. This person wants me to understand. So the difference usually shows.
It's the same reason why people fail at certain things, because even money itself responds to value. That's what we're taught.
Yes.
Right? So if your agenda is just, I want to make money, even the money will run from you, and you will do everything to make it.
Yes.
And people can do anything and everything to achieve it, right? Because I believe that, for instance, the YouTube guy you talked about, right? Was it on YouTube you watched it?
Yes, YouTube.
Okay. If the guy was just there because, I want to get some of YouTube money, I know that if I make videos, people are going to watch the videos, I'm going to make YouTube money. there are still people who have lecture videos that they have 2 views. Some, if it's generous, they have 30 views. And I believe it's not true in all cases, but I feel like that's a direct response to motive.
Yes.
So we need to have people who are genuinely intentional about the next generation to school them.
And we also need to we've painted the teaching profession as something that is for poor people.
Yeah.
Something that is more important. Teachers are better than farmers.
Teachers need more respect.
Farmers are better than teachers. Teachers need more respect. So we need to pay them to make it seem like if a child should work, there are some children who tell you I want to be a teacher. You're like, what are you saying? You want to be poor for the rest of your life. So someone like that, now if the person ends up being a lecturer or a teacher, the person will feel like, I'm stuck. So I need to do anything to make this serious money, forgetting that I'm here to teach.
Because Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, all these great people we mentioned, they had teachers.
See?
So that tells us a lot in itself.
Yeah,
wow.
It does.
I heard a story of a headmaster who the most wealthiest businessman in that village has to, how will I put it? He has to respect the headmaster, because everybody in the village knows that the headmaster is responsible for the kind of children that is going to come out from them.
Yeah.
So teachers deserve more respect. I believe that it's even perhaps part of the reasons why they are. There was one time I heard the salary of a lecturer. This is someone, a senior lecturer, not just any lecturer, but a doctor, right? And when I heard it, I was bummed that with this position and the level of work, school fees you've paid over time to get to where you are now, this is how much you are being paid. And I see that this thing happens most times in public universities. And I believe that's the reason why we also have private universities costing the amount they do, because many of them don't want to gamble the future. And so when people ask questions like why are pastors creating universities that their members cannot attend, it's not as though that's the intention, but quality needs investment. I believe that what that means is we also have to invest in good education. If Nigeria is going to have any hope of the future, if Nigeria is going to turn out better citizens, because everywhere else we find ourselves, if people are lucky enough to do good for themselves, they're in the UK, in the US and places like that, they tend to stand out more than even citizens of that country. So, like you rightly said, I believe what we're lacking is exposure, what we're lacking is the right environment in order to shape the mindsets that we want to see in the future.
And the right information.
The right information, yeah. Information is the most powerful tool of exchange.
Yes, very powerful.
This has been very, very, very enlightening. I would say very, very big thank you. And by the grace of God, we'll be having you again. We look forward to it.
Okay.
God will help us. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you.